No stone vein sanctum bare, with symbols ozone since as the weights to runes firsts unmake the voice glowed, older than the Ascians renit convocations fall times tier. Older than the Ascians renit convocations fall times tier, a chisel slipped, stone drank blood. Helions' silence deepened, what command, buried in tremors and ash, waits to unmake the rejoining? Slipped, sundering waits to convocations fall, unmake the red joining. They believe the convocation of 14 entrusted the first with a command to bind the source, a truth the Ascians buried when they stole the rejoining. Their virtue stewardship, their wound, the knowledge that Helions hold the key to unmaking what the first forged. Ashes of the lost clan still whisper in geothermal vents, their final act a failed attempt to mute the Helions' tongues. But stone cannot forever cage a secret etched into the world's breath. What did the first charge them to seal? What price did the earth demand to forget? The Helions' silence is no shield, it is a ledger. And every tremor is a finger counting down. What command from the first is buried in the Hrothgar's silence? The book of the Hrothgar speaks of a covenant sealed in ash. The convocation of 14 had fractured. The first last voice of unity turned to the lost clan and spoke words that split the earth. Those words never transcribed, never repeated ere said to hold the source's final lock. To bury them, the lost clan drove sigils into the bedrock, sealing knowledge that could unmake a god. Their act preserved the Hrothgar. Their silence made them ghosts, the rituals endure. Each rite of the Sundering mirrors the day Aetheres shattered, 14 shards born of a single breath. The lost clan's descendants chant in fractured tones, reenacting the convocation's collapse, yet the true rite is silence. The Helions' mute expanse is no accident, it is a vow, a tomb for the first's unspoken will. The Ascians, those architects of rejoining, sought this secret. Their first reflection was a key, a failed key. The Hrothgar's silence resisted them. Still the earth counts, each tremor beneath the Helions is a syllable unspoken, a command unwritten. And when the 14 shards realign, the question returns, what price did the first demand of the lost? The answer sleeps where no voice can reach it, beneath the weight of a world's silence. The convocation's hymns once wove through Aetheres like threads of light. The Hrothgar carved citadels into mountain bones, their voices harmonizing with the source's pulse. This unity fractured when the Sundering split Aetheres into 14 shards, scattering the Hrothgar like seeds in a storm. What command did the first etch into the lost clan's marrow before the silence fell? Legends whisper of a directive buried deep in Helions' unbroken husha, command so potent it could unspool the source's weave. The Ascians, ever hungry for rejoining, may have glimpsed its shadow when they bound a reflection to this world. Yet the Hrothgar's silence holds firm, a vault of stone and memory. Did the convocation seal this knowledge to spare the world? Or did the first demand a sacrifice too vast to name? The cities of living rock now crumble, their songs reduced to echoes. The Helion stillness is no accident, it is a covenant, a barrier against a truth that could drown the shards in chaos. To speak the command would be to unravel the very fabric the first wove, but silence is a fragile thing. And the Ascians grow bolder, what waits beneath the weight of centuries, a promise, a threat, a key. The Hrothgar's lost clan guards it still, their silence the last thread between order and oblivion. The convocation of 14 once wove Aetheres in harmony, their voices a chorus to the source's pulse. Then came the Sundering, a fracture not of stone, but of spirit. The Ascians, with their hollow eyes and hunger for rejoining, carved a wound through the Hrothgar's unity. They took a reflection, bound it to their will, and severed the lost clan from the source's breath. What command the first etched into their silence, none now dare guess. Only the Helions know, their mountains holding the shape of a word unspoken, a truth petrified in granite and shadow. The Garlean siege came later, their machines tearing at the earth where the Hrothgar once danced with its bones. The calamity's ash fell like a shroud, burying prayers in dust. Yet it was the Ascians' experiment that left the deepest scar rejoining, that twisted the lost clan into pariahs, their bond with the land reduced to a fever dream. They hid in the Helions' ribs, their whispers now a language of rust and rot. What use is a command if no voice remains to carry it? The first's final order, sealed in the silence, waits, a blade. A lock, a spark, the Dravanian frost has not erased it. The Hellion silence grows heavier, a weight that cracks the spine of time. If the Ascians ever force the Helions to speak, if the stone ever remembers, the source will unravel. The Hrothgar's fractured song, once a hymn, now a warning. Some keys unlock only oblivion. Ash thickens where Mid-Rehook's shadow first fell. Hrothgar's hands, calloused from chiseling silent hymns into obsidian, tremble not from fear, but wait. The first's command is no war cry, no benediction. It is a key forged in the source's birth, its syllables etched into every fractured note of their song. To speak it would not unshackle Helion. It would drown the world in the echo of a question never asked. What price does the source demand for remembering? The final days began with Mid-Rehook's return. A star fractured the firmament, the sky wept fire. The Hrothgar's lost clan did not flee. They dug deeper than bone, deeper than memory. The first's final command was no shield, it was a key to what? No tongue remains to say, only this: the Helion's silence is not passive, it is a vault. A tomb of words that could unmake the source. The Ascians watched. They wove their rejoining threads tight, binding reflection to flesh, ensuring the cycle would spin again. But the lost clan wove tighter. They drowned their voices in ash, their hands in ice. Let the world burn, let the Helions sleep, the command must stay buried. Even as their kin turned to stone, even as the sky split open, they held. What price does silence demand? The Hrothgar paid in blood and breath. Their voices, once hymns to the source, became whispers swallowed by permafrost. The Helion's silence is their scar, a pact sealed in the marrow of the earth. To speak the command would not save the world, it would unspool it, thread by thread. The Ascians do not know. They cannot know. The lost clan's sacrifice outlasts empires. The rejoining is but a shadow of their work, yet the weight remains. A question frozen in time: what dies when the source remembers? The Hrothgar's grief is not for themselves. It is for the day the Helions speak, and the world will shudder, not from Mid-Rehook's fire, from the word that birthed it. The earth still hums beneath Hrothgar's feet. The lost clan's halls remain sealed, their stone lips clamped by the first's final breath. Scions come, Scions go. Their love for this world stitches reality's frayed edges, but the lost clan offers no answersonly the weight of unsaid words. The Helions, those hollowed sentinels, do not weep, do not wail. They hold the first's command like a shiv to the throat of time. What truth, what unraveling, lies in that silence? The warrior of light's return birthed a new era, yet the Hrothgar's secret festers, a wound cauterized by duty. The Scions walk brittle paths, their survival a thread held by starlight and memory. The lost clan's silence is no passive thing. It is a dam, and the Helions, its keepers, know the flood's Shapath word that could drown the source in its own making. They wait, the world rebuilds, the world remembers, but the earth's oldest children guard their shame well. Let the Scions sing of hope. Let the Helions choke on their burden. The first's last order sleeps in stone, in breath, in the space between heartbeats. Until the day the silence breaks, until the word at last is spoken. The first's blade, broken in the Sundering, became the seal of their final command, a truth etched not in stone but in the unspoken, a word that could unmake the source. The Helions guard this silence with unyielding devotion, their breaths synchronized to the earth's slow pulse, their tongues bound by a vow older than the convocation's fall. No Hrothgar dares ask why they listen. The answer lies in the gaps between their exhalations. The lost clan, exiled to the veiled spires, carries the first's order in blood memory, their rituals a counterpoint to the Helion's stillness. They do not guard the word, they dilute it, singing fractured verses into the wind, scattering ash where rivers bend. Their isolation is no accident. The Ascians, who stole a reflection's thread to weave the first rejoining, left a warning. Asterisk, some truths unravel what they seek to mend. Asterisk, the convocation's last act was not to rule, but to divide, to hide the sharpest edge of power in plain absence. The Helion's silence is a vault, the lost clan's songs are its locks. And the source, ever hungry, waits for the day the vault breathes. What if the first's command was never to preserve but to unbind? What if the Helion's silence is not protection but containment? The Hrothgar built their world on what was buried. But a word once spoken cannot die, not even in stone. Stone breathes, the book of the Hrothgar does not. Its runes, carved by hands that became dust, hold a silence older than dynamis. Below, the Helions guard their own quiet, no wind, no water, no sound to mark the void where the first spoke. Above, the lost clan folds their rituals into midnight's throat, chanting in whispers that bend light. Their dances map the command, not words, but gestures that carve the air like a blade. The first did not write. The first did not speak, and yet in every chanted breath, every unbroken hush, the source trembles. What is buried here is no relic, it is a threshold. The Hrothgar built shrines to hold it. The Helions built silence to hide it, but the lost clan knows motion is memory. A hand raised in prayer, a knee pressed to earth, a voice stilled in the dark. The first's command is not in the book, it is in the body, and bodies remember. What if the silence is not a seal? What if it is a key, waiting for a voice to turn it? The Helions do not speak, not out of choice, but duty. Their silence holds a command older than the cycles turn a directive etched into stone, blood, and breath. To utter it would not end the cycle, it would unmake the source. The Hrothgar's lost clan did not vanish. They became guardians of the unspeakable, their existence a wall against a truth that could unravel all. Every generation, the weight of unsaid words grows. The Scions fight not just to break chains, but to keep others from being broken. Love in this age is the act of remembering to forget. The cycle grinds on, unbroken, because some doors must remain closed. The Hrothgar chose exile over hubris, their mountains a monument to what is buried. What is the price of such silence? A people shaped by absence, a legacy of what was never spoken. The first's command is not a weapon. It is a wound sealed by the Helion's breath. To speak it would not heal, it would birth. The Hrothgar's lesson is this: some knowledge is a shadow, and the brightest light casts the deepest dark. Theirs is a sacrifice without end, a vigil where the enemy is not dragons, but the hunger to know. The source survives because the Helions stay silent, and the Scions, in their love, learn to let some truths remain stones. What command from the first lies buried in Hrothgar's silence? The Scion stones hide a truth the Helion dare not speak a word that could shatter the source. The book of the Hrothgar warns, *, the earth remembers what the sky forgets. *, if the silence